From the weather team you can trust, here's Chief Meteorologist Eric Sneidel.
We are keeping this relatively comfy weather going all the way through at least the weekend. I have to say that because we're going to go downright uncomfortable into next week as heat and humidity are set to build. High temperatures today across the region range from the upper 60s into the 70s. Very few spots here ended up eclipsing that 80-degree mark. What's kind of interesting to me about this, that's 74. That's probably closer to what our dew point is going to be into next week, let alone what our temperature is going to be. It's great weekend weather no matter how you slice it. Saturday, upper 70s with partial sunshine at least. I think it's mostly sunny into Sunday. Highs will end up climbing into the lower 80s by that point. Both of those days, though, it's not crazy hot, it's not crazy humid, and it should not rain. Then we talk about the heat going into next week, in particular building toward the middle part of the week. By definition, in western New York, a heat wave is at least 3 consecutive days of 90 degrees. And a lot of summers, we get at least one of those that qualifies for a heat wave. Not every summer, but many of them we pull that off. And look, to be honest with you, I think if we're going to do this next week, it's going to be one of those we probably barely meet the criteria. What is more headline worthy, though, is less what the air temperatures could be, but more factoring in some very high humidity levels. We're talking dew points well into the 70s by midweek. And when you combine that in conjunction with highs into the low 90s, well, that gets you to a different tier. We could be talking about heat index values, what it feels like, more into the triple digits. So that's where you start talking about the need for some actual headlines coming from the National Weather Service. Otherwise, as we go into our Saturday afternoon, that's a fantastic day. Future view is nice and clean. Even as we go into Sunday, there's the good stuff with temperatures getting back into the low 80s. Monday is going to be the first day, though, I think you start to notice, okay, you know, we're getting a little toasty now, well into the 80s, still not at 90, but we are inching closer to that. All the while, the humidity is also starting to build. This map of all these bright colors showcasing the dew point. We call this our muggy meter. And the way we built this is we go into that gross category in orange. Everything in orange is a dew point at about 75 degrees or higher, not just 70, but 75 or higher. And most often you end up having that just kind of relegated here toward the Gulf. You don't see it getting this far north all the time in the summer season. And indeed, the Euro model especially, it's spitting out some pretty big numbers out of this, where we're talking about middle 70s dew points for a stretch of days toward the middle part of the week. So when you factor that in with the heat, that gets you a heat index on Monday, still very manageable. That's not anything to work up over. That's 98 on Tuesday. Still, you're teetering on advisories with that, but the core for me is going to be more Wednesday into Thursday. Heat index numbers of 100 degrees plus could be on the table. I say could, because I do think there's going to be at least some chance for storms out of this, and that will help ease that. It's just going to be figuring out the luck of the draw, who gets those. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if we hit that forecast right, that's an old-fashioned heat wave for us.